All right, thank you so much for joining me in this lecture again. I think whoever wish to join, they have already joined. If somebody wish to join, they can join between the lecture because I'm not going to wait further. This lecture can be somewhat longer. The reason being we have to understand regarding different concepts of elasticity of demand. And I must tell you, before understanding elasticity of demand, this is very obvious and very necessary to understand law of demand, for which we have already taken the lecture a few minutes back. So at 6 past 20 p.m., I think we have taken the lecture regarding law of demand, its different types, and I have taught you clearly the concept regarding extension and contraction in demand and increase and decrease in demand. Number of students have joined that lecture as well. So if you have not gone through from that, then I believe that you have at least basic information and knowledge regarding the law of demand and what demand is about and what are the different types of demand. Only then you shall be able to understand this lecture completely. So I'm just going to start without waiting for anyone in this lecture. So just need your quick confirmation so that I can start my lecture. Can I start it right now? Am I audible to you completely? Kindly answer me. Just need your confirmation so that I can share you the screen. All right, thank you so much. I have got the confirmation now. Just going to share the screen and show you what we have for you in this specific lecture. And this is going to be related to elasticity of demand. Elasticity, okay. Elasticity of demand. When we are concerned with this specific topic, then this is prerequisite or the requirement of understanding the law of demand. Okay, if you have understood the law of demand, only then it's viable to go through from the elasticity of demand. Otherwise it does pose number of problems. Okay, when we are talking about law of demand, that I have already taught you. Okay, on the y-axis there are prices and on the x-axis there are quantity demanded. When prices are lower, you can demand more quantity, but when the prices are higher, you can demand only lower quantity. This is known as the law of demand, which is specifying the inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. Okay, and the coordinates which are from which the line can be drawn from the different combination is known as a demand curve. Okay, so that was all we have understood in the previous lecture. Now we are concerned about elasticity of demand only. So what does this basically mean? This measures the responsiveness of a quantity demanded of a good to a change in price or anything like in income or price of related goods. Okay, we have already understood regarding law of demand. Okay, so this was a law of demand which we understood, but law of demand only tells you one or two things. The first thing is that when prices are higher, then you demand lower. When the prices are lower, then you demand more. So these are the two things which are referred by the law of demand. But law of demand fails to tell you that how much demand is responsive in relation to prices. That means when prices are increasing, how much this increase relates to decrease in the demand. And if the prices are decreasing, how is the relationship between the decrease in prices and the increase in demand are. So this is basically the relationship which the law of demand fails you tell you. Okay, again I am explaining all the things. The law of demand just tells you that increased in prices results in lower in quantity demanded, and lower of prices results in increase in quantity demanded, but it does not tell you the exact change in the demand. Okay, in a response to the prices. Okay, so it does not tell you how much the demand has changed or what has been the nature of a responsiveness of a quantity demanded. And the thing which tells you the responsiveness of a quantity demanded in a relation to price, that is elasticity of demand, and this is the concept. And elasticity of demand is understood from the different three different perspectives. First, on the basis of price, and second, on the basis of income, and final, on the basis of price of substitute goods or cross products. So from these point of views, the concept of elasticity of demand is understood. Now I have told you definition of that. When you wish to learn the responsiveness of a quantity demanded in relation to change in price, change of other goods, prices of other goods, or change in consumers' income, then the study of this responsive is known as elasticity of demand. So it is all about that. Now there are three types, as the definition has suggested, that it is seen in a relation to prices of other goods, and consumers' income. So this is why it is said that the elasticity of demand is understood from three point of views. There are three kinds of elasticity of demand. The first is the price elasticity of demand, second income elasticity of demand, and the last one is cross elasticity of demand. Now we are supposed to understand this completely. One by one, we shall be understanding these three concepts. The first is going to be the price elasticity of demand. When it is shown that how much demand has responded on the basis of a change in price, this is known as price elasticity of demand. So elasticity of demand may be defined as a ratio of a percentage change in demand to percentage change in price. So it shall tell you that how much demand has changed on the basis of a price. Okay. So this is referred as elasticity of demand, or EP, and its formula is percentage change in amount in quantity demanded or amount demanded for the product divided by percentage change in price. Okay. So this tells you. So when we are going through the definition again, then we have to find how much the demand has changed in response to prices. Okay. So this formula tells you exactly this thing. So it tells you how much the demand has changed, or the quantity demanded has changed in response to the prices. So percentage change in the quantity shall be at the numerator, and percentage change in the prices shall be in the denominator. So that was all about the formula of price elasticity of demand. Now it has 5 phases. Okay, there are 5 phases or 5 different degrees of price elasticity of demand. Okay, so I shall tell you one by one what are the different kinds or degrees of price elasticity of demand, and I hope you would have understood this completely. Okay, I hope I'm not I do not have to explain this again and again to you. You have understood that completely. When you wish to find the change in demanded in response to change in prices, this is price elasticity of demand, and it has different degrees. When you go through from degrees, again your concept shall be clear. The first is perfectly elastic demand. Okay, when there is a very smaller change in price, but there is infinite change in demand. Okay, so see, when the prices are 4, you demand 10 units. Okay, you demand 10 units, but when there is the change of very lowered prices, like prices are just 4.1 rupee now, 4.4 rupee and 10 pesos now. So when the price slightly moves upward, there is an infinite change in demand. Like your demand has grown to 40 units now. So it is said that when due to very lower change, increase or decrease in price, there is infinite change in demand. This kind of demand is perfectly elastic demand. So that was the first one. Now this is perfectly inelastic demand. When the prices have increased or decreased, but there is none kind of a change in demand. Demand is remaining constant. Okay. So this situation is known as a perfectly inelastic demand. Okay. So when the quantity demanded does not change to whatever change in price. So when prices are A, you are demanding 10 units. When the prices are C, you are again demanding 10 units only. You are not increasing or decreasing your demand. This is known as perfectly inelastic demand. This is the third one. This is unitary elasticity of demand. It tells you when there is 20% change in prices and same 20% change in demand. Okay, when there is a same percentage change in demand as the same percentage change in price, this is known as unitary elasticity of demand, known as elasticity of demand is equal to 1. Okay, so now you can see when the prices were C, you demanded a D quantity. When the prices were A, you demanded B quantity. So here there is the difference of prices from A to C and different of the quantity from B to D. Okay, and the proportion of these two difference is exactly same. When this proportion is same, this is known as unitary elasticity of demand, and rather than a this can be represented by this demand curve known as D or D dash. So this is the unitary elasticity of demand. Then there is more than a unitary elasticity of demand when there are only 20% change in demand, a change in prices, but the change in demand is more than 20%. Like this is 40% or more than 20, it can be 21% or anything more than that. It should be more than 20% only. Again, one example, when there are 30% changes in prices, but this is causing more than 30% change in demand, like demand is changing to the level of 60%. So this is greater than unity, like this is 2. Elasticity of prices comes to be 2. You can see from this example, when prices are C, you purchased N. When this is A, you purchased B. You can easily see from this, then the change in price are the lower in percentage than the change in prices, change in the quantity demanded. Okay, the percentage of change in quantity demanded. So this is a greater difference than this. This situation is known as more than unitary elasticity of demand. And this is the last one. This is the unitary elasticity of demand. What does it say? When there is a 20% change in prices, or it can be anything, but the percentage change in the quantity demanded is lower than the percentage change in price. Like this is only 10%. So elasticity of demand shall be 0.5 only. Okay, so you can see from this figure, the change in prices is referred to as change from A to C, and change from quantity demanded is referred as change from B to N. So this change is greater than this change. So when prices change are more than the quantity demanded change, this kind of situation is known as less than unitary elasticity of demand. So these are the 4 things, like perfectly elastic, then perfectly inelastic, then unitary elasticity, then greater than unitary or more than unitary elasticity, then lesser than unitary elasticity. So these things you have to understand. These all are the concept of degree of price elasticity of demand. Again and again I am telling you, price elasticity of demand just to tell you the responsiveness of quantity demanded at different prices. Okay, when you are making the relationship between quantity demanded and prices, okay, so that kind of relationship ultimately known as price elasticity of demand. So now I have taught you regarding different degrees of price elasticity of demand. Now we shall talk about what are the different methods of finding price elasticity of demand. As there were 5 degrees of price elasticity of demand, there are 5 famous methods for finding the price elasticity of demand. I am going to tell you one thing for sure, that from this whole of the concept, like elasticity of demand, whether you study price elasticity, income, or cross elasticity, from price elasticity there are different concepts like degrees, and now we are going to do methods. All these concepts are very necessary, and even individual type of a question can be asked to you from this particular topic completely. Okay, but you are not supposed to be concerned about very in-depth knowledge, okay? Because if even at least all the all of the different methods have numericals as well. I only wish to say that you are not supposed to waste your time from these. Only learn their formula or just understand the concept, and what I tell you, that will be much more sufficient for your study. So now we are going to move towards different methods of measurement of price elasticity of demand. The first one is percentage method. Okay, you just find the percentage change in quantity demanded and percentage change in prices, and that shall give to you elasticity of demand on the basis of a price. So here you can see it's a formula. This is percentage change in Q. Q stands for quantity, and this is percentage change in P, that stands for your price. So when you just put this percentage change in quantity at the numerator and percentage change in the price at denominator, that shall ultimately gives you price elasticity of demand on the basis of a percentage method. So this is all about that. And how to find percentage? This is just elaborated form of or version of this formula. Everything has already been defined in the notes that shall be delivered to you. You should just be concerned about how this is applied and how this is used, and that I have already taught you right now. So that was the first method of finding price elasticity of demand. The next one is a point method. Before understanding this, just see this figure. Okay. So this is a demand curve. Okay. This is a demand curve completely. And each curve has infinite number of points. There are number of points. Okay. There can be any number of points. Any points can be there. When you try to find the elasticity of demand at a certain point, say here, or say here, or say at point M, or at here. So that kind of elasticity of demand is known as a point method of finding elasticity of demand. And Professor Marshall devised that thing, and he gave geometrical method of measuring elasticity at a point on demand curve. Okay. So what is this? Is demand curve. At any point of demand curve, if we are finding the elasticity of demand, this is known as a point elasticity of demand. Okay. So they have given the formula, and this formula is this completely. That has also been written in the notes. So delta Q represents the change in quantity demanded here. So this is delta Q. Okay. So delta P changes in the price level. So delta P is changes in price level. You have to multiply this by P and Q. These were initial price and initial quantity. And on basis of that, you can find elasticity of demand on basis of price, or price elasticity of demand on the basis of point method. And it was all about that, and nothing to be worried about. Then there is arc method. That kind of special method is applied on the demand curve, which is presenting an arc. Okay. And what are those demand curves which present an arc? These are those curves which are found usually, which are having the degree of a price elasticity of at least greater than 1 or lesser than 1. So they shall make an arc. Now just see this picture. Okay. You are seeing this picture here. You can easily make an arc. Arc is like that. Okay. Arc is like that. When you are not supposed to make a straight lined demand curve, but an arc. This shall not be an arc of demand curve. And when again, now you can apply the same thing of a point method. When you try to find price elasticity of demand on point of this arc of demand curve, this is known as arc method of finding the price elasticity of demand, and this is all about that. Okay. So it just first of all represented 2 points. Okay. It represented 2 points, and on the basis of this, the price elasticity of demand is found. And this formula is exactly same as this, and nothing else. Okay. So just finding method is different, and that was given by Professor Baumol, basically. he has given that arc elasticity is a measure of average responsiveness of a price change exhibit by demand curve over some finite stretch of the curve. Okay. So at this curve, this is a specific stretch from P to C. And from at this figure, if you try to find the price elasticity of demand, that shall be known as arc method. And its formula is only very few kind of differences are there from point method. Okay, so that has also been given, and specifically it has never been asked in the examination, although individual method have never been asked, but only one method was asked, and that was expenditure method. But we have to go through from all these things from our point of view, because they can gradually ask you anything, like they can ask you that there are different methods like percentage method, then there can be point method, there can be expenditure method, and what does relates to what, or what does point method tells you, what does arc method tell you, what does proportion method tell you. So these kind of things you have to understand. So I hope percentage method, point method, or arc method is clear, which tells you that first of all, a demand curve which is having an arc sized or arc shaped curve, you have to plot some point on that, and from these points, anything at any point in between these points, if you are finding the elasticity of demand, that shall be known as elasticity of demand on the basis of arc method. Then okay, one thing more, in your undergraduation and post graduation books there will be written some detailed mathematical formulas. Okay, do not waste your time for these kind of things. Okay, they are not going to be this much specific, and you are not having that much time as well. In case we get sometime other after the examination, if we are in touch, then we can be go through somewhat in details. Okay, so this is the next method. This is known as a total outlay method or expenditure method. I think this is the last method for finding price elasticity of demand. What does this tell you? This tell you that price elasticity of demand can be found on the basis of the expenditure done by the customer. And I must tell you, this specific method has been asked in the previous examinations as well. Marshall has divided that, and I am going to tell you right now what is the meaning of that. What is total outlay? Total outlay is just your expenditure for purchasing something. How it is found? Prices multiplied by quantity demanded. Suppose you have demanded 5 apples at the rate of 3 rupee each. That means you have expended 15 rupees. This is your total expenditure. On the basis of your expenditure, you can find the price elasticity of demand. And now I'm going to tell you how you can find that. Okay, just see this table. So here in the first line, here are given all the prices, and it goes from 98765. So these are all the prices in a decreasing mode, and this is the quantity demanded. And when you multiply these two, you are given with total expenditure. So 9 multiplied by 2 comes to be 18. 8 multiplied by 3 comes to be 24. Okay, so this is all the table for total expenditures. So it has been divided into 3 parts. So now you see that from 18 your expenditure goes up to 24. From 24 it goes up to 28. So when your expenditure increasing, that kind of elasticity of demand shall be greater than 1. That you have to remember in your mind. Okay, so now the expenditure is 30. On next purchase again it's 30. On next purchase again it's 30. When expenditure remains constant, then this is exactly unity price elasticity of demand. That you have to understand. And lastly, when your expenditure is decreasing, now see here, from 24 it goes to 18, and from 18 it goes to 10. When your expenditure is decreasing, then this is lesser than unity elasticity of demand. So this is all about that. Okay, so This is just telling you that, and this table, specifically this table, you have to cram, you can cram in your mind, or I can say anything, you can remember concept or anything. This specific table was also given once in the examination. So it's just telling you when prices falls or rises. Okay, falls or rises. When it falls, your expenditure is rising. When it rises, your expenditure is falling. This is known as greater than unity. When price falling or rising, but the total expenditure is unchanged, this is equal to unity. But in case when it falls, it also falls. When the prices rises, the expenditure also rises. This is lesser than a unity. So that is the kind of a combination you have to understand. I know that by just watching this video or going through all the concept which I am teaching you right now, you shall not be able to comprehend each and everything in one go. That's why at least two readings are necessary, and two repeated watching for this video lecture is necessary for understanding this concept deeply. Otherwise, you shall be simply puzzled. Okay. So elastic demand, it's just, so these are just the uh, definition of what I have already taught you this specific table. Okay. So what is elastic demand? What is unitary elasticity demand? What is less than elastic demand? Just one table, this table or this table, that would be suffice for you. Okay, that would be suffice. So it's just going to tell you that you have to remember your mind either this way or this way. Then your concept regarding total outlay method shall be completed. So I hope that you would have understood by the first method of finding the elasticity of demand. I have taught you that elasticity of demand is just the responsiveness of demand on the basis of three items. The first is price, the second price of other goods, the final is consumer's income. And we have diversifies it in three types. The first was price elasticity, then income elasticity, then cross elasticity. In price elasticity, we have understood two items. The first, I have taught you different degrees of price elasticity of demand. Secondly, I have taught you different methods of price elasticity of demand. Now we have to move further to the next thing, and this is going to be income elasticity of demand. As we have explained price elasticity, in the same way we can explain the income elasticity as well. So when due to income change, there is the change in demand, and how much demand changes on the basis of a change in income, this is known as the concept of income elasticity of demand. Okay, so that tells you the responsiveness of a consumer's demand for any change to his income. When income changes, how much the consumer's demand changes. This concept is known as income elasticity of demand in total, and this is refers as EY. Price elasticity referred as this, and income elasticity will be referred as this. So it is all about that. Okay. Again, the formula is same. At the above level, you have to write percentage change in quantity demanded divide by percentage change in income, and this is simple. Okay, so this is the delta Q, change in quantity demanded, delta Y, change in income. This is initial income, and this is initial quantity demanded. So that tell you proportion of quantity demanded, and this tell you the percentage change in income. So by just going through from this formula, you can find the income elasticity of demand. The only one thing you have to bear in your mind is that elasticity of demand on the basis of income is just the responsiveness of quantity demanded on the basis of a change in income. This thing you have to keep in your mind. Now, like the other one, there I think there will be some degrees as well for income elasticity of demand as well. So these we have to understand, and now I shall tell you one by one what these are. This is perfectly elastic. Okay, perfectly elastic demand. So when there is the change in income, okay, when there is change in income and it also changes in changes in your demand in a positive way. So this is perfectly elastic. When just a few changes causes great change in the demand as well. So this is known as perfectly elastic demand. So that was your initial income, that was initial quantity demanded. This is your present income, this is present quantity demanded. So that is leading to the positive change. Okay, so you can just sum up the coordinates where these 2 points cut, and when you make the demand curve, it shall be from left to right. Okay, left to right. So this is known as perfectly elastic demand, which just tells you that with the increase in income of the consumer, his demand and service also increases. This is also known as perfectly elastic or positive elasticity of demand. So these can have some forms like unity, greater than unity, or lesser than unity. Okay. When a change in a demand, the change in demand is proportionate to change in income. Okay. So here, if I'm writing, when the income has risen from 1 to 2, and demand has also risen from 1 to 2. Okay, when the proportion of a change is same, like we have already understood in the concept of price elasticity of demand. When a proportion of change in demand is exactly similar to proportion of change in income, this is known as unitary income elasticity of demand. And when the proportion of a change in demand is greater than the proportion of a change in income. Okay, so again, if I am just plotting this, this is 1 and 2, this is 1 and 2 for the income, 1 and 2 for the income, and this is 1 and 4, 1 and 4 uh, for the quantity demanded. When the price is 1, you purchased 4 unit. When the your income was 1, you just purchased 1 unit. And if the prices are 2, you are purchasing 4. So now you can see that it is leading the greater impact. Okay, there was the lesser change in a proportion of income, but there was more change in quantity demanded, and that is the case of greater than unitary elasticity of demand. And it was that, okay, greater than unitary elasticity of demand. And same is the case, or the converse is the case for lesser than uh, unity elasticity of demand. So again, if I'm plotting here, okay, so when the change is from 1 to 5, okay, the initial income was 1 rupee, and now the income is 5, but the quantity demanded has changed in a very lesser proportion than change in income. Okay, so when it was 5, you used to purchase only when it was 1, you used to purchase 1 unit, but when this is 5, you are purchasing only 2 units now. Now you can see that this difference is wider than this difference. That means percentage change in income is wider than percentage change in quantity demanded. This is known as the case of lesser than unitary income elasticity of demand, and this was all about that concept. So now there are some cases for positive and negative income elasticity of demand. Positive we have already understood in this concept. When income is increasing, demand is also increasing. Okay, so this is called the positive elasticity of demand. In that case, the demand curve moves from left to right, and this is negative income elasticity of demand. When your income is increasing, but your demand is decreasing. Okay, so this is initial income, this is initial demand, this is the second income, this is the second demand, and it has lowered. So as the income is increasing, the demand is lowering. So now income has again increased, demand is again lowered. So this is the case of negative income elasticity of demand, and this is denoted by the curve from here, from this side to this side. Okay, so this is known as negative income elasticity of demand. This is zero income elasticity of demand. Your income is increasing, but your demand is not increasing. So this is initial income, this is initial demand. Your income has increased, your demand has not increased, it is still constant. Your income has again increased, again your demand is not increasing, the demand is always constant. So if there is zero change in demand for any change in your income, this is known as zero income elasticity of demand with this concept. Okay, so I think that that was all about income elasticity of demand, and it's not difficult to comprehend. It does not involve number of methods in that to find. Only these things you have to understand, like degrees of elasticity, income elasticity of demand, and its different ways. Like income is unity, greater than unity, lesser than unity. Then what is positive, what is negative, and what is zero elasticity of demand. So now, as we have understood the different concept regarding price and income elasticity of demand, and I think now this is the last concept remaining in the subject of elasticity of demand, and this is going to be related to cross elasticity of demand. So what does this mean? When we talk about elasticity of demand, that I have already explained you, that this is a responsiveness of a quantity demanded due to three different factors. It can be price, it can be related product, or it can be income. Regarding price and income, we have already understood. Now, cross elasticity of demand is the third kind of elasticity of demand, which tells you the responsiveness of a quantity demanded on the basis of changes in the price of related goods. Okay, so what is this? Cross elasticity of demand is a relation between percentage change in quantity demanded of a good to the percentage change in the price of a related good. And what is the related good? You can take any example. You can take example of chapati and bread. You can take the example of pencil and pen. You can take the example of tea and coffee. These two are a related product. What are related product? Related product are those products which can satisfy the same need. Tea and coffee can satisfy same kind of need. So these are known as a related products. So when the price of one shall be increased, then what shall happen? You shall start consuming the next the other related product more. Okay, so this is their relationship, and it is denoted as this. So cross elasticity of demand is found as percentage change in quantity of X due to percentage change in price of Y. So in this way, this is denoted, and now I'm going to tell you how you can classify different kinds of cross elasticity of demand. The first is for substitute goods. I'm going to give you a very simple example. Okay, so on the basis of this example, you will be able to understand this concept completely. So this is vertex, this is x-axis, this is y-axis. This is the prices of a single product. Okay, prices of a product, like prices of a tea. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rupee. Okay, this is prices of a tea. Okay, and these are the quantities of coffee. Quantity of a coffee. So when the prices of a tea are increasing, these are increasing, then you start consuming more coffee. Why? Because now the prices of tea has increased. That's why you have shifted your preference to coffee. So this is the reason why in the case of substitute good, when the prices are rising for a specific commodity, you start consuming the another related commodity. So when its prices was 1, you consumed only one unit of coffee. Okay, when the prices of tea became 2, you start consuming more coffee. When it became 3, you start consuming even more coffee. When it again went up, you start consuming more coffee. When again went, you start consuming more coffee. So this is the ray, or this is the demand curve of cross elasticity of demand in case of substitute good. Going to give you next example. Okay, so this example has been given in these lines as well. So again, the same thing is there. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 and 5. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are units of coffee and these are unit of tea. Same kind of structure is there. So it's saying you when the prices of tea falls. So here we take the example of prices of tea are rising. Here we are taking the example prices of tea are falling. If the prices of tea are falling, then what you would do? You would shift to tea more. Okay, because now you can purchase more tea, then you shall not purchase coffee much. So when the prices were 5 for tea, you consumed 5 units of a coffee, but now it has been reduced to 4. Now you are shifting to tea, that's why you are consuming less coffee. When the prices are even lesser or reduced, then you are reducing consumption again for coffee. So structure is the same. So that was example when the prices are rising. So, and this is the example when the prices are falling. What does happen when prices are rising? You shift your preference to another thing, another related product. When the prices are falling, then you shift your preference to again the previous, which was your favorite one, which was their favorite commodity. So that was the example for substitute goods. Now we see in the case of complementary goods, what are these? Complementary are the jointly demanded products like pen and ink. Okay, then car and petrol. So they are jointly demanded things. Okay, when you need pen, when you have pen, you need ink. When you have car, you need petrol. Okay, these are jointly demanded or complementary thing. And now we see what is there in this case. It says that rise in a price of one. Okay, so here I am just writing the prices of a pen. Okay, pen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here on the x-axis, I am writing the quantities of ink. Okay, when the prices of first commodity, this is the first commodity, this is pen. When these are rising, then there shall be fall in demand of other, because when the prices were 1 for pen, you used to take 5 units of ink. When it went to 2, you used to take only 4 units of ink. When it went up to 3, you used to take only 3 units of ink. The reason being, the prices of a pen is rising, then you will be purchasing less pens. And if you are purchasing less pens, then ultimately you shall be demanding less ink as well. This is the thing regarding complementary goods, and I think you would have understood this completely right now. And the last one is unrelated goods. Here there is none kind of difference. Okay, demand, the elasticity of cross elasticity of 0 in case of unrelated goods. Okay, there is no relationship between car and pen. There is no relationship between your shoes. Okay, between your shoes and your uniform. Okay, and there is none kind of a relationship between your possessions. Like it can be anything, like your house, or your friend's house. They are in none kind of relationship. Those products or those goods which are having none kind of a relationship, or which are unrelated, their cross elasticity of demand is always 0. That means fall in the prices of tea do not have any effect on the quantity demanded for car. It will be same. So whether the prices of tea are rising or falling, it shall not make any impact on the prices on the quantity demanded for cars. So that was all about this. I hope you would have understood, and this concept is now clear to you. And you have to understand this in a very detailed manner. In this specific lecture, we have talked about all the different things, like we have talked about elasticity. Then I taught you regarding different types of elasticity of demand, that these were price, income, and cross elasticity. In price, we have understood different degrees and methods of finding the price elasticity of demand. when then we studied about income elasticity of demand. Okay, we studied about different degrees of income elasticity of demand, and finally we talked about cross elasticity of demand. In this way, I hope you would have understood this completely. Regarding the next lecture, we shall be informing you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for joining me in this lecture.